Then I guess that settles it. We're not going to shoot for the moon when it comes to online success.
Wait, but hold on. If we come to this conclusion now, does that mean that we actually achieved what we set out to achieve?
Please, Rontu, do not joke about that.
No, he's got a point. I mean, this whole time we've been concerned with analytics and how well projects have been performing, and every time that they do perform well, we always get a bunch of maniacs as our viewers.
Yeah, but TikTok's not that bad.
No, we're not talking about TikTok exactly. We're talking about other platforms here. TikTok is fine.
But weirdly enough, the only way to really get a bunch of eyes on your project is by copying something that already has a list of audiences that are watching it. Mr. Polar Bear Jack, what was your main reason for wanting to succeed with your art? Was it because you wanted a bunch of money, or was it because you wanted to be as successful as the mainstream?
I wanted to be, I guess, a successful artist just for the main sake of protecting you guys. It sounds ludicrous in retrospective. In hindsight, yeah. I didn't realize that the potential of actually putting yourself out there led you liable to the craziest kind of people and even the weirdest kind of criticisms. But even at the expense of trying to not connect with people and making something that does well on paper, people end up vibing with that instead. Well, listen, Tori, we've been with you through thick and thin. We've been through all the hardest times and the good times. And it seems like that might never end. But wasn't that the point of this whole journey? So that we can let go of the past, so that we didn't have to deal with all the bullshit that comes with it? If you're asking me, it doesn't make sense to go right back into that rain of thunder after we just escaped it. I mean, hell, Marie barely gets an adventure that's dedicated to him that's high production value. Mr. PBJ is always suffering from some type of physical ailment every time he produces a video. Madison, you get torn up after every single video worrying about your body image and whatever. Haiguchi's constantly getting lusted after by a bunch of other people online. Haiguchi, you say it's fine and that it's just business, but at the end of the day, you can't really connect with any of those fans now, can you?
Well, to be honest, I kind of thought that part of the goal was to connect with people around the world. But the goal of succeeding online and trying to stay true to yourself seems like a daunting task. Daunting to the degree where you don't know if you want to be over-exaggerated or true to yourself.
So, do we end it right here?
I don't know. Mr. Polar Bear Jack, that's up for you to decide.
You're not a successful artist until the moment that you're dead. Well, if you die, we die too. And what does that mean? That before we gain any traction of people taking us seriously, or even being able to see us for all of our true glory, we have to be gone? It's actually kind of fucked up. But falls in line with a lot of other artists throughout the times, if you think about it.
Feels like we're one out of a million that sacrifice ourselves to the internet. But Mr. Polar Bear Jack, hear me when I say this. If you ever get doxxed, or anybody ever tries to pick a fight with you, just know that we will always be there.
Rontu, you say that like I want to continue this mission, this God-given mission of being a successful artist by the world's definition of it, having your stuff admired or ridiculed throughout the world and everything like it. Yeah, Rontu, you're basically asking for us to die.
But that's exactly the reason why we started this in the first place. The whole reason why we exist at all, because the first kind of comic that I starred in, Fruits of Labor, was because we thought that Mr. Polar Bear Jack was going to die. He was super depressed and everything. So he decided to spawn out of existence a comic where everything was exactly the way it was. Madison was Madison, I was myself, Maurice was Maurice. Haiguchi, you weren't always in there, but you were somewhere in there.
Okay, hearing you talk is actually kind of humiliating. Marie's kind of got a point about this. We didn't care about our mortality when we began the comic. We didn't even care about our mortality when we were all spawned into existence anyways. It's only until now that we care about our safety, which makes sense, because we're now at a point where, honestly, if we were to lose all of our progress, it would be devastating.
But progress is an illusion. You're probably going to say that, huh?
It's an illusion.
But that's my point. We're gonna die at some point. Mr. Polar Bear Jack is gonna not exist at some point. What does success matter when we're not even ourselves anymore?
Rontu, I love your optimistic way of thinking of things, but besides even that, it's cool to have fun projects. It's cool to be remembered. It's cool to have awesome, outrageous adventures and experiences. But another thing that also matters is the ability to just live in general. I mean, just think of it as a way to protect the ability for us to exist in the first place.
Yeah, but what if that existence is trash?
Well, that depends. Is everybody on board with your way of thinking? Like, do they want to sacrifice themselves for the greater good? Did you ever come to that conclusion?
Well, Madison.
No.
Maurice?
Bro, I mean, I honestly don't care what the world thinks about me anyways, but knowing that, Mr. Polar Jack is kind of the lifespan of all of us, if he were to not exist, and I don't exist, and I kind of like you guys, it kind of sucks.
Higuchi, what about you?
I like how I currently am living, Rontu. I don't know what to say.
So, am I the only one that thinks differently here?
Funny. I guess there's a reason for why you still have that character design in the first place. Everyone throughout the years has become more human except for you. And that's not a jab or anything, it's just interesting. Maybe it's because you still think as whimsily as I used to before. Everyone has become human except for you. You're still, I guess, in that character stage where you're sort of immortal.
What do you mean immortal?
Like, even if we were to die, even if I were to die, somebody would obviously be inspired by your character design and still stretch your spirit forward. There's not really much complicated about you. You don't have the ongoing issues of Madison and her body image. You don't have the controversial issues of your language and your attitude like Maurice. You're not even as controversial as Higuchi with all of her memes. You're sort of safe, which means that you're the last bet after me that would survive to the future, at least past the point that I die.
That was something I always admired about you, Rontu. You always have that kind of optimism about you. It gets me through the hardest times, honestly. But it's something that I know will always outlast me, you know?
So what kind of conclusion is this? What are you guys saying?
Rontu, your spirit is immortal. It's far beyond any of ours because we're pretty much flawed humans in every regard. But your spirit is something different, but not at the same time. It's always been here, even before I even started drawing, and it's going to persist even past me, past all of us. Like, when I die, you're probably not even going to remember me. You're not going to probably remember any of us. But you're still going to be yourself, as weird as that is to think about. In truth, you're always meant to be my ideal hero kid, and that spirit is timeless, but so timeless that you're going to rush past all of us.
But it doesn't matter if I'm invincible or indestructible or, immortal. I still want to give it my all and make sure that you guys are okay.
Well, I guess one of the best things that we can do is prolong the inevitable, which is saying that at some point, I'm going to die. But until that point, we can just try our best to make sure that everybody is okay. But maybe we don't have to go back on our mission? If there ever was a mission. Well, how about Rontu does all of the interesting stuff and we stay in the backdrop and just support him, Protect our privacy and all that kinds of stuff.
But doesn't that mean we're not really going to be a part of the same story?
Yeah, that's exactly what that means. But I don't want a world where you guys aren't there. My reasoning is that the world is going to be dangerous regardless. And if we don't act as freely as possible, then we're better off dead anyways. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I'm immortal. Or what you say, I guess. Maybe that switch of mentality has to happen like right now. So we can all be kind of immortal, I guess.
Well, that immortality is just more in the spirit, not in the memories. Like, for example, even after I die, someone will be compelled to continue your story. Madison, Maurice, and Higuchi, maybe, but less likely. But maybe there's a possible chance that we could all just be a part of the same story and try our best to mitigate any kind of doxing or whatever have you that messes with an online creator's momentum. Perhaps.
So you're saying you're all on board?
Well, technically, if we're all so impure, perhaps there's a chance that your spirit could probably protect us, like a shield.
Yeah, as long as we always have a Marie on board, there's nothing that could possibly ruin us. Sure, we're all a bit risque, but for the most part, if someone takes a glance at you, they might actually think twice before labeling us as deviant or impossibly immature or whatever else.
Alrighty, you hear that, Rontu? We're going to be following you to the ends of the earth, so you better hope to God that we don't die, or at least protect us in whatever way you can.
Yeah, don't worry. I got you guys 100%.
Well, now that we've come to that conclusion, I guess I can start trying to figure out good ways in order to monetize whatever we're doing. Who just made that noise? I've been standing in the corner this whole time.